The iPhone 13 mini came out in September 2021, which makes this phone almost 700 days old. But I didn't got mine until March of 2022 when Apple came out with this awesome new green color. So by the time you guys are watching this video, I would have had this phone for a little over 500 days, which makes it the phone that I have stuck with the longest over the last decade. Yes, I haven't used any other phone even for a year in the last decade, which makes this iPhone 13 mini very special to me. Hey guys, it's Sagar, and in this video, let us check out how the iPhone 13 mini has held up over the last 500 days and why it has been my most used phone in the last 10 years. Now let me make one thing clear. This iPhone 13 mini is not the only phone that I have used in the last 500 days. As a reviewer, I am constantly changing phones, and at any given time, I have more than 2 phones that I have to make videos about. Earlier, I used to transfer all of my data from one phone to another every few weeks, and that was not only time consuming but not very practical and frankly very safe either. So a couple of years back, I started carrying one separate phone which had all of my personal data, and that phone for a good part of last 500 days has been this iPhone 13 mini. I did use the iPhone 14 for a month and 14 Pro for about 2.5 months in between to make videos about them. And my main SIM was in those phones during that time, and that was the only time when I was not using this 13 mini as my main phone. Yes, I had purchased the iPhone 14 Pro and it had a premium build, new dynamic island, a great new 48 megapixel camera, extra telephoto lens, 120Hz refresh rate ProMotion display, a much bigger battery, and I still sold it off to continue using this iPhone 13 mini. This was not actually the plan when I got the iPhone 14 Pro, but here we are. I love this size and form factor so much that after having used it for some time, I just can't go back to using big and heavy phones. Its compactness and ease of use trumps everything else. In a world filled with oversized phones, this one fits right in the palm of my hand and I can reach all 4 corners of the screen with just one hand without too much fatigue, which makes this a perfect phone for me. Even after 500 days, it is still a performance powerhouse. It feels just as fast and snappy as it was on the first day. It did have a few hiccups when I first installed iOS 16, but that was more of a software optimization issue and not related to this iPhone 13 mini in particular. Apple did iron out most, or I should say all of the issues with subsequent software updates. It packs in the same A15 Bionic chip which Apple has also apparently used in the latest iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. The CPU is the exact same as those new phones, while the GPU is a bit underpowered, but you don't notice that at all even when you have this iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 14 side by side performing the same tasks. So the performance was one of the things which I never had to worry about even when I gave up the iPhone 14 Pro for this phone. The 14 Pro did feel a bit snappier, but that was because of the 120Hz ProMotion display, which I again had no issues giving up, as the 60Hz display on this phone feels buttery smooth. I know I'm going to spark up a bit of controversy with what I'm going to say next, but I honestly feel that high refresh rate gets much more hype than it deserves, especially on iPhones. After having used the iPhone 13 Pro, then shifting to the 13 mini, then again going back to the iPhone 14 Pro and back again to the 13 mini, I personally didn't feel like I was missing out on a lot by using a 60Hz refresh rate display on this iPhone 13 mini. You might have different views and I respect that. This is just what I feel. Taking images with my smartphone is a big part of my usage, so I was a bit worried that I am not going to have the best set of cameras on my iPhone. But when I compare its cameras with the iPhone 14 and even the iPhone 14 Pro, other than the telephoto lens on the iPhone 14 Pro, I did not find there to be a huge noticeable difference in terms of their image quality. iPhone 14 and 14 Pro do get to shoot cinematic mode videos in 4K resolution, and it was the only thing which I thought was missing from the iPhone 13 mini. But honestly, I don't take nearly as many cinematic mode videos as I thought I would, so that is also not an issue. I do however miss the extra reach that the telephoto lens on the iPhone 14 Pro gave me, but other than that, I am really happy with the cameras on this phone. Durability wise, I think it has held up really well. It has the same design as the iPhone 14 series, and the upcoming iPhone 15 is rumored to not deviate a lot from the current design language, so design wise it looks in line with today's iPhone lineup. I am always a bit careful with my phones, and for the most part I try not to let it fall or bump against the wall or anything like that. I said for the most part because accidents do happen, and I did drop it from the height of about 3 to 4 feet in the first month itself. I was very nervous, but fortunately it survived without any dents or scratches. Ever since, I have been using it with a good quality tempered glass screen protector and a case on it. If I remember correctly, I think I dropped it because the glossy back felt very slippery from all the fingerprints and smudges, and so I also went ahead and applied a thin matte film to the back of the phone. Now it is not only free from smudges, but this matte back also looks so much better than the glossy one in my opinion. On the software front, this 13 mini is just the same as all other bigger iPhones. It still gets the same software version as the iPhone 14 and 14 Pros, and the overall experience of using iOS on this phone is just the same as any other iPhone. A part of a reason for this is that Apple doesn't have any extra features that take advantage of the bigger displays on the Plus or Pro Max iPhones. There is no split screen or home screen landscape mode, which might let the bigger iPhones take better advantage of the added screen real estate. So no matter which sized iPhone you are using, you are getting the same user interface. So software wise, you are not missing out on anything by going with a smaller iPhone. Apple typically sends software updates to their phones for 5+ years after they are released. So you also don't have to worry about OS updates on this phone for another 3+ years at the very least. So even longevity wise, this phone is really great. Now one of the main reasons why people try and stay away from smaller phones, no matter how much they love the smaller form factor, is their concern about its battery life. And rightly so, because poor battery life was one of the key disappointing factors of the 2020 iPhone SE and the iPhone 12 mini. But thankfully, Apple has taken care of that to a large extent on this iPhone 13 mini. With the A15 Bionic chip being much more power efficient than the previous processors and the battery size being about 200 mAh bigger compared to the iPhone 12 mini, this iPhone 13 mini gives 2 hours of more battery backup, which easily translates to all day battery life for an average user. It might still not be the best for a heavy user who is on social media or plays games all the day, because the actual physical size of the battery is much smaller than most of the regular sized phones. But if you use your phone like it is intended to be, then you can easily squeeze out 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time out of it. My typical usage is 1 or 1.5 hours of calls, watching videos for half an hour, listening to music for another half hour, checking and replying to emails throughout the day, checking and replying to messages on WhatsApp and Telegram throughout the day, scrolling on Twitter and Instagram for about half an hour each, using navigation when I'm driving, and taking a lot of images and videos. And with this kind of usage, I get anywhere between 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. So as you see, its battery can definitely last you an entire day if you use your phone normally. Surprisingly, the battery health has held up pretty well as well. Right now it is sitting at 90% and I have been using this phone since almost a year and a half, so I would say the battery's overall health is also pretty impressive. With all of this going for it, I think the only people who should avoid going with this phone are the people with big hands, because this phone will be too small for you and you won't even be able to type comfortably on it. Next would be the people who are looking for a phone with a bigger display and battery, and finally the hardcore gamers. Not that this phone can't handle any heavy and intensive games, but because the screen is small, all the controls and buttons are cramped up, making the gameplay a bit difficult. That's it. Anyone else can definitely consider getting this iPhone 13 mini. If you are in the market for a smaller smartphone, your options are so limited that you can actually count them on fingers of just one of your hands. And if you want to get an iOS device, then your only options are 2022 iPhone SE and the iPhone 13 mini. I know the iPhone SE has its own followers, and as good as the 2020 iPhone SE was, I feel the 2022 one just makes you give up on too many things just to have a smaller form factor, which makes the iPhone 13 mini your best available option. And if you're looking to get it, you might as well hurry up because this might be your last chance to get it. Apple discontinued the mini series last year when they did not bring out a brand new iPhone 14 mini. But thankfully, they at least left the iPhone 13 mini live along as an option for people who preferred smaller size. But with the launch of newer iPhones approaching quickly, I don't know if that would be the case this year as well. There is a small possibility that they might still continue selling it at slightly lower price. On the second, slightly sadder option is they might discontinue it altogether. So there is an uncertainty looming over its availability after a few months. Looking at popularity of bigger phones, it is unlikely that Apple is going to give us another mini anytime soon, unless they revive it as the next generation iPhone SE. But that is just a speculation on my part, so if you are looking for a smaller phone right now, this is your only option, and you might as well get it while it is still available. If you are willing to give the iPhone 13 mini a try, I assure you that you are going to love it as much as I love mine. Now, will I be holding on to this iPhone 13 mini for even longer, or will I be switching to the newer iPhones when Apple release them? Honestly, I have not thought about it. I am definitely going to get the new phones so I can make videos for you guys, and maybe then I can use both the phones side by side and decide which one I am going to keep on using. That is it for this video, guys. Please hit the like button if you found this video to be useful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for a lot more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.